Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community. Afternoon, everyone. Evening or morning, wherever you are. Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close with Black non-believers and our community and the secular community at large. My name is Mandisa Thomas, and I am your temporary host for the show. Just a reminder that In the Cut is a production of Black Non-Believers, which is a 501c3 organization. Headquartered in the Atlanta area, we connect with other Blacks and allies who are living free from religion and might otherwise be shunned by family and friends. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of Black non-believers is to provide secular fellowship, nurture and support non-believers in coming out, i.e. open identification, encourage pride in non-religious identities, educate the public on the history and current state of non-belief in the Black community, and organize events and charitable causes. BN welcomes all regardless of age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, or racial identity. However, please remember that our content and our work prioritizes Black non-religious voices. So if you haven't heard it again this year, I'd like to say Happy New Year and welcome to the first episode of In the Cut for 2023. We are excited for this year ahead as we continue to rebuild and revitalize Black non-believers as an organization and continue to bring you some amazing guests like the one we have today and continue to keep you informed on what is going on in the community at large. I would like to let you know, in case you didn't know, Religious Freedom Day is January 16th, which falls on the observation of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. As we think of religious freedom and some of the, and thinking about our current political climate that we're dealing with, where people use religious freedom as a weapon, especially against those who don't believe or who are religiously progressive, I just want to say that it is important for us to continue to lend our voices to this conversation, and not just lend our voices, but make sure that we're speaking up on our behalfs. This is one of the reasons why Black non-believers exist. We don't just exist to provide that community support, which is at the core of our mission, and it will always be. It is very, very important. But when the time comes for us to speak up and advocate for ourselves and our communities, it is important that we do so, especially when it comes to occasions like Religious Freedom Day. And I do appreciate all of our allies and the folks that we had and organizations that we have collaborated with over the years, who have been supportive of the non-religious demographic and atheists, humanists, and agnostics, and letting people know that our voices are just as important when it comes to religious freedom. So as we go into this month and keeping that in mind, especially as Dr. King's birthday is acknowledged in about 2 weeks, I think it's important for us to keep this in mind. Also, I'd like to welcome, as we promised on the last show, we have started a brand new affiliate in Detroit, or we have revived that affiliate. I'd like to give a shout out to Kelly King, who is on the back end helping on YouTube. She's one of our moderators as well. She is the new leader for the Detroit affiliate. I'd like to say thank you to her for stepping up and taking that on, as well as say a special thank you to Tina Marshall from our Charlotte affiliate, who is not here with us today, but we will be announcing a couple of events that we have coming up later on in the show. And please do join the new Detroit affiliate meetup group, whether you are living in the area or you plan to visit. We plan to have that affiliate very active and engaging. So please do stay tuned as we continue to rebuild and grow. Also, it would be good if you are looking to volunteer and lend your hand. Please do. We can always use some more folks. There is a volunteer form on our website. We will also paste that link in the chat today. So please do. We would love to welcome you to the BN team. I'd also like to give a special birthday shout out to Deanna Williams, who was a previous guest on the show. She's also a friend of the show and a BN supporter. Deanna, if you remember, is a film producer and director. She directed and produced the films Tracks and Torn. She is also the co-founder and the co-creator of the frustratingly fun movie trivia game Name Dropping. And we will share that link when later on in the show as well, in case you are interested in picking up your copy. And last but not least, I would also, before we get the show started and our interview started, I would also like to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you who are tuned in today. Thank you to everyone who supported Black Nonbelievers in 2022. And we are counting on your future support in 2023. This is a team effort. We don't do this alone. We definitely could use more of your hands and more of your support. We are looking for a new host for this show, or if you would like to try your hand at guest hosting, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to feature you. This would be a good place that if you are looking to put yourself out there, or if you would like to try your hand at public speaking, we love to facilitate that. So if you are interested in either being a permanent host for the show or just guest hosting, please do reach out to us. Again, we would love to have you. So that being said, it is my honor to welcome our special guest today, content creator Esther Valentine, who is also known as the Afro Atheist and Afro Humanist. An ex-Christian, she is passionate about discussing why and how religion can be toxic, poisonous, and dangerous. Since breaking free from religion, Esther actively debunks claims made by the Bible and religious leaders, especially those located in Africa. Esther advocates for more spaces and platforms for people, especially Black people, who are questioning their beliefs, and that supports people who have walked away from religion and ask why, what, when, where, and how. Please welcome to the show, my fellow atheist, fellow short blonde hair sister, Esther. Welcome to In the Cut today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. I've looked forward to being on here. So to be here is, let me tell you, it is a tick on my bucket list ticked. So I'm
Yay.
here.
And I love the fact that you are, you do support the show, you watch the show, you do actively engage in the comments. And I love the fact that you, being a content creator, a fellow content creator as well, that you are here with us. So let's just get this started. So as you know, we ask of all our guests, please let people know, tell us about your journey with religion and how you came out of it.
Oh gosh, my journey with religion. Boy, do I have a journey. As most of us do. I My name's Esther, so I think that clearly tells in it's a story in itself. Didn't have a choice. I was born into a Christian family. Mom and dad were both Christians, and the religion meant a lot to them. But they moved around quite a bit. They moved around from church to church. If I remember correctly, we started off in a Presbyterian church, and then from Presbyterian church, we then moved on to a strict version of what's it's a strict version of the Pentecostal movement in Nigeria. For those of you who know Nigeria, Nigeria is a very, very religious country. Religion is like the everyone's religious. Not many people aren't religious. I didn't know what an atheist was, didn't know that it was a thing. And so I grew up in this family, going to church. Um, yeah, I did all of that. Had my Sunday best, loved my hats, sang in the choir. I was very, very active growing up. Um, because we grew up in a very strict version of Christianity, there were lots of things that we weren't allowed to do. The women were not allowed to wear earrings. We couldn't wear jewelry. We couldn't wear skirts. No, we could wear skirts. We couldn't wear trousers. There were lots of restrictions placed on us. The emphasis was on holiness. You had to be holy in order to see this God character. And God was a very huge part of my life. I imagined this really big person up there sitting on his throne. Of course, he was white. The Jesus that we were introduced to, the God we were introduced to, was white. He was whiter than white. He was, big, scary, and just ready to punish, ready to attack, and ready at every moment in time. If you think something he doesn't like, he's ready to punish you. If you dared to move out of step, he was ready to punish you. And so that's the God I grew up knowing. But that didn't stop me from, having my moments. They call it backsliding, right? Had my moments, backsliding here and there, but I would always come back because, listen, it's always a pull. When you have been indoctrinated, you think your life somehow revolves around church, around God, around your beliefs. So you're not very far away, even when you do backslide. And so I carried on that way. Um, then I relocated to the UK, and I saw that in the UK, the way they did Christianity, the way they did religion was completely different. They were not as forceful as we were back in Nigeria, Africa. We practiced our own Christianity a bit different. When we go to church, we go to church. You spend nearly your whole day in church, right? We did church. Uh, God was everything you he was, God was wrapped into everything that you did. So I came to the UK and realized, okay, how come their version of Christianity seems to be a bit different? So the advice I was given is that here in the UK, they have a watered down version of Christianity. In the UK, they're quite secular. And so if you really want to worship, you should find yourself an African church. That way you get to be more in tune with God. But the English, nah, they've completely missed the mark. They're very far away from God. You can't even tell them apart from unbelievers. And so even in the UK, I carried on going to the Nigerian churches. And so I found my way into a Church of England because I was fed up of the whole Nigerian community. They expect you to be in church at least 3-4 times a week. You've got a life. You can't give all your time to church. on top of giving your time, you had to give your tithe, you had to, every single thing. This is the teaching, is that everything you have belongs to God. Your time, your everything belongs to God. And so there shouldn't be any complaints. They even went as far as saying that every single day has 24 hours in it, and that out of your 24 hours in the day, you have to give God 1/10 of your 1/10 of your day. So out of 24 hours, you've got to give God 2 hours 40 minutes. So in that 2 hours 40 minutes, it's waking minutes, by the way. You shouldn't be asleep. You have to be awake. And so you have to either be praying, or you're giving thanks to God, or you're preaching, you're out there proselytizing, or you're reading your Bible. It's something. You have to be communing with God. You have to be in, some kind of devotion to God. That's the only way you can, give God 1/10 of your time every single day. And so, yes, I carried on that way. I went to the Church of England and realized, hang on a second, these people do their Christianity very different. How is that? They didn't even collect a tithe. I've I've paid tithes every year, every church I've gone to. And here I am, it's completely different. How is that? So anyway, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It was really good. I saw some decent Christians. I met some beautiful people in this particular church. Um, I saw what good Christianity looks like. They were just the best. But then this kind of I think it was about the time when George Floyd died. Just before then, my son came to me, my 9-year-old, he was 9 at the time. He came to me and said, "Mom, I don't want to be a Christian anymore." I said, "Why, just why not?" He came from nowhere. And he said, "Oh, we've been taught about how Jesus died, and there was a lot of blood everywhere. And, he doesn't want to identify with that." And me, Christian mother, was so concerned about my son saying he didn't want to be a Christian anymore. If I carried on being a Christian, my son would go to hell and I would be in heaven. I couldn't live with that. I had to make sure he keeps on being indoctrinated in this religion. And so I was trying to bribe him. I was trying to keep him locked in. And I said to him, "Look, if you still want your Christmas presents, there is no Christ without Christmas. There's no, if you give up Christianity, that's you giving up Christ. And Christmas is because of Christ. So if you give that up, there's no Christmas presents for you. Do you still want your Christmas presents?" He said yes. And I said, well, sadly, if you give up Christianity, you have to give up your Christmas presents." He looked at me. The look on his face, I could tell that he was conflicted. And here I was, Christian mother, trying desperately to bribe him with Christmas presents. I left that conversation and started asking, so why exactly am I trying to force this religion on this child? He has come to me and said he doesn't want to be a Christian, right? Instead of me trying to figure out why, here I am trying to, keep him locked in. I felt really bad. And so I decided, okay, I need to find out if there really is sufficient evidence to carry on believing in this religion. And so I started asking questions. I started asking those questions. How did the religion begin? What were the origins? My son is here telling me that he doesn't like the barbaric nature in which Jesus died. He has a point. Did Jesus really need to die such a death? What for? What exactly was that about? Could there be a different way that Jesus could have? Was there a different way that God and Jesus could have done this? Instead of having Jesus killed in that manner, considering that Jesus was an innocent man, how are we celebrating an innocent man dying for us? Anyway, I I still carried on going to church. I was making my way to becoming a priest in the Church of England. I'd finished 1 year studies, I'd finished the second year studies, pathways to ministry. My path was set. I was about to start at the theology school. Well, I hadn't gained the admission yet. I was, there's some processes that you go through. So I was, in that process. I went to the interview. The lady asked me some questions, and I could feel myself not wanting to be there. I could feel myself just thinking, why am I doing this? When I am questioning, when this is no longer making sense to me. The lady who was interviewing me, she sensed it. She said, I've heard lots of reviews about you. She said, but I think you should go back and think about this again, whether you really want to do it. And I went back and thought, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I carried on going to church, but the white Jesus, someone came to me and said, you do realize that Jesus wasn't white? I said, no. I was born and was taught that Jesus was white. We were shown pictures of Jesus. We know what he looks like. You can't tell me Jesus. I said, no way Jesus was white. So I went to me and the Reverend Father had a very close relationship. I could go to him and ask anything. I went to the Reverend Father because don't forget, the church has to support your application in becoming a priest in the Church of England. So they knew about my work. They knew about, they had sponsored me to go on a trip. The Church of England were trying to recruit more Black people because apparently the face of the leadership of the Church of England was too white, was too masculine. So they wanted to change the face of the leadership of the Church of England. So they were trying to recruit more Black people, more female, more LGBTQ people, just bring them anyone. So the church, I had that kind of relationship. I went to the Reverend Father, went to go and ask him, what are his thoughts about the white Jesus? Now, bear in mind, he's a white man himself. And he looked at me and said, yes, whatever that person told you is true. Jesus wasn't white. I said, but hang on. How come everyone in Africa thinks he's white? And then he said, that's the lie that the church sold to the world, which the church needs to apologize for. Wait, hang on. So you're telling me that the person I've been praying to, every time I close my eyes and pray, and I see this big white character, you're telling me that this isn't real? I think he saw the confusion on my face and he said to me, but really and truly, no one really knows what Jesus looks like. That if you ask me, that's him, if you ask him, he thinks that Jesus was a Black Rastafarian. This is the white man, Reverend Father, telling me he thinks that Jesus was a Black Rastafarian. So he said to me, for Christians, it's not about what Jesus looks like. It's about his message. It's about his sacrifice. So to go back and think on what Jesus came to do, he said that what he finds is that a lot of people tend to imagine Jesus and God in their own likeness. So a black person would think of Jesus as a black person. A white person would think of Jesus as a white person. A an Irish person would think of Jesus as an Irish person. So he said to me, just I told him, I said, I cannot think of Jesus as a black person. I've gone 40 years thinking he was black. You think that it would just somehow like that. I close my eyes and see a black Jesus. It can't work. So anyway, I went back asking, what exactly did Jesus come to do? Well, it turns out Jesus, who was also God, came because two people ate a fruit. Instead of forgiving these two people, they decide to punish those two. And everyone that came after them gets to be punished instead of just forgiving them. And, slowly I deconstructed that story and then realized it was just rubbish, absolute rubbish. And so here I am today, an unbeliever, dumped that religion. And since I realized it was fake, I'm on a mission to expose the falsehood of Christianity, because Christianity was everything I knew. God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, right? We weren't given any choices. And so I feel like I have a duty to expose that religion.
Esther, I mean, I was just backstage, just nodding and just high fiving everything that you've been saying. And it's so profound that across the diaspora, whether you're in the United States, whether you're in the UK, whether you're on the continent, how similar our experiences are, especially those who are coming out of Christianity. And so I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your,
Mhm.
your experience and your journey, because it does resonate with so many people. And so what type of, have you received any pushback on your critiques on religion, especially as a woman who is Nigerian, who
Oh,
is an open atheist? Have you received any pushback from, especially those religious pastors or those evangelical preachers, um, especially on the continent?
okay. So before I answer that question, I've been strategic in my coming out. Before I came out, I'd made sure to let my immediate family know. And secondly, I had to, I mean, make sure that I'm in a place where I'm independent. Nobody is feeding me, right? I am my own boss. I'm raising my two boys. So whatever anyone's opinion is has absolutely no effect on my life, right? If I was dependent on people, if I was dependent on people for just anything, I don't know, whatever, then I would have thought maybe a bit different. But because I was in a place where I am very independent, and your opinions and your thoughts about me, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean anything. So so what? So then and only then I could then come out and say, look, here I am. And when I came out, I was very open about it. I didn't I put it public on all my platforms, on Facebook and on YouTube. Pushback, yes, I have got pushback from some family members. They're concerned, they're worried that I am going to hell. I understand their worry. I understand why they would think that, because that's all they have known. They don't know any different. They think that because I have walked away, therefore, I'm now the devil's advocate. The devil's using me somehow, and you know, I've got a one-way ticket to hell. And of course, I understand their concerns. Now, as for the other people that I've engaged with, the other people that I've had dealings with, the pushback that I get is really going to hell. You're the devil. You've allowed the devil in. We're going to be praying for you. Those sorts of things. I don't give too much weight to people's opinions about me. I really don't. Think what you like. You're not feeding me. And so your opinions, worst case scenario is you're going to hell. Oh well, congratulations, we're all going there. Someone said to me that they wanted to have a word with me. They wanted to have a conversation. And yeah, okay, fine. I didn't mind that. He said he said he was worried that I was going to burn in hell, and I was going, all this talk. And but I said to him, congratulations, we're all going to hell. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you think I'm going to hell, you do realize that you're going to the hell in someone else's religion, right? I said, if you think that, okay, how are you sure that you've got the right religion? You're only concerned about the Christian hell, right? Have you ever stopped to think about the Muslim hell that you're going to because you don't believe in Islam? And he he just paused. He had nothing to say. I said, yes, that's it. I said, well, I'm going to the Christian hell, right? I said, but you realize you're going to the Muslim hell, right? We are going to the hell in someone's religion that you don't believe in. I just don't believe in any of them. So we're all going to hell. Congratulations. So I think with the kind of pushback I've gotten, I only when I entertain it. I don't really give you much room. And even if you share your opinions, at the end of the day, your opinions are just words. They don't change anything in my life at all.
Absolutely. And that is amazing for those who are still working up that courage to have that, I don't care what you think attitude towards Christians or other believers who come at us like that. I
Mm-hmm.
certainly, that is amazing. And it's important for people to be able to get to that point. And especially because now you have your platform and that you're doing videos and you've created content around it. Have you received any other pushback like on your videos, or do you have anyone contacting you making any threats or anything like that?
Not threats, no, but I do get those trolls. I would consider them trolls. They, oh, what do you, who do you think created you then? I got someone saying to me, you cannot be African and be an atheist. Atheism is intrinsic to the African uh, person. Oh, okay. I said, well, I'm African and I'm an atheist. You better deal with it. It's not my
Oh boy.
problem he says you cannot. I said, well, but I am. It's up to you what you choose to do with that. So I do get those kind of people. Recently I've been getting one particular person. He's just been coming in my streams when I'm streaming. He wants to, he says, oh, you're creating an echo chamber here. You don't want pushback. You don't want, listen, I'm not here for that. There's not many of us, Mandisa, right? You would bear me witness. How many African female atheists do you see around? How many?
There are more of us than we think, but as far as who are visible in public like us, we still pale in comparison. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I am glad that there are more of us, but compared to the number of Christians or religious people and religious women, yeah, we still, whew, yeah, we are still, we still have a ways to go.
They're
As far as our number,
underrepresented.
yes, very, still very much underrepresented. So there's a question in the chat.
Mhm.
So how has your relationship with your son grown since you've left Christianity?
Okay, so that's interesting because I've got two sons. My first one, he's 20 years old, and I consider him a lifelong atheist. Hey, Cynthia. Hi, everyone. I see everyone in chat. We just can't really, uh, say hello. My first son, when we used to go to church, it's your duty as a Christian parent to make sure that you're able to indoctrinate your children. You do not want to be in heaven and your children are in hell. What kind of parent would that make you? So you have to pass on that religion to your children. So tried everything possible to pass on this religion to the first one. And for some reason, it just wasn't working. Whatever we tried did not work. I would go to the pastor at the time, said, maybe when you come to choir practice, bring him with you. Let him learn the drums. And slowly that would get him in church. And I did that. He became drummer boy for church. Would come with me too. So when I was going to choir practice, he's coming along because he's the drummer boy. How else would he know what we're singing? So I did everything. He started doing he started playing football on a Sunday, and I was concerned because every Sunday you had to be in church, but here he is wanting to play football on Sunday. And me, the Christian mother that I was at the time, I went looking for his football coach and said to his football coach, um, we are a Christian family. Going to church on a Sunday means everything to us. Is there anything you can do for my son so that he can train any other day but not on Sunday? And the man looked at me. He said, I am a minister of God myself. In the UK, we play football on a Sunday. It says, I get it. Africans, Africans are very invested. It has to be Sunday. He said, that's one thing, Mom, you're going to have to deal with. It's either your son plays football or he goes to church. There's nothing we're going to do for you. This is it's all up to you now. And so we decided, okay, he will go to church 2 Sundays a week and go to football 2 Sundays a week. I realized that every time he goes uh to football, he's so happy. He's a very happy child. But when he's coming with us to church, oh my goodness, the look on his face, so miserable. Whatever you tried, he just didn't want to be there. And slowly, slowly, just used to let him go to more football than come to church. And after a while, he stopped coming to church, and that was it. He just stopped. When I came away from um, Christianity, when I came away from the religion, I sat him down and said, I said to him, you know, I'm an atheist now. He said, yeah, I realize. He says, that's all you watch in this house. It's atheist this and atheist that. So the first thing I did was apologize. I apologized to my son for the times when we tried to force Christianity on him. And secondly, I thanked him for never buying into it, however much the pressure he was under to become a Christian. He never bought into it. He stood his ground and was his own person. And he asked me, Mom, so do you now see what, do you now understand how I felt that when we were in church and you adults, everyone's nodding when they're reading from the Bible? Says the Bible never made sense to him. The stories in there just weren't convincing enough. And he could not understand how all these adults couldn't see it. Said, Mom, can you understand what I was going through there? I said, Son, I understand it perfectly. I said, then it didn't make sense to me. But now it makes sense because I'm reading these stories and I'm asking myself, how did I once believe that Jesus walked on water? How did I once believe that donkeys talk? How did I once believe that a snake came and was talking to Eve? I couldn't understand it. So that was my older son. My younger one, he's autistic, and so with him it's a bit different. But he appreciates that he hasn't got to go to church anymore. I didn't have to apologize to him as such because with him there wasn't much indoctrination going on there. He was 9 years old when I started my questioning, and because he was autistic, I think we were a bit more less forceful with him. So, but now he's 13. I would consider him an atheist. I mean, I was asking him the other day. I asked him what he thought about the flood story, the Noah's story. What does he think? And he said, Mom, he said, that story, it never happened, Mom. There's not enough water to flood the entire earth. Says he started, wanting to go on about calculations because he loves maths. And I said, okay, you know what? No need. You've answered it. So you've answered the question. Fantastic. So he knows that. So how on earth would anyone be able to indoctrinate him? It's impossible. So my relationship with the two boys, listen, they don't have to go to church on a Sunday. They love that. And we don't have to talk about church, we don't have to talk about Bible, we don't have to talk about all those things. So they're happy, and they support me. My older one, he, Mom, okay, you go do you. But he's not keen on talking about all this stuff. It's not his thing.
You gotta love it when the children are able to get it. Someone said earlier, out of the mouths of babies, and it's always so good when we listen to them and when they teach us, when they can teach us something, that's always amazing.
Yes.
So, final question: how has social media been good for your activism? And you being in the UK, there are some humanist secular groups there. Have you connected with any of them?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That's how I found you, Mandisa. I so when I came away, because um the downside to coming away from religion is that it is a very lonely experience. When all you've known is religion and all you've known is church and that religious family, and I had a choice. The choice was to carry on going to church and pretending. And that's one thing I'm not good at. I'm not good at just being false, and I can't. I'd rather just be myself, like me or hate me. And so I wrote an official letter to the church, telling them I didn't believe anymore, and got back a four-page response. But then that was it. I was done because I could not carry on sitting in this auditorium, this church hall, where the Reverend Father has said to me that the church lied to the world. The church told the world that Jesus was white and that the church needs to apologize for that lie. Now, here I am sitting in the church in beautiful hall, stained glass windows, and all you see is the white Jesus everywhere. the white baby, the white Mary, the white, it's all white. How can I sit there in all of that, knowing that that's not what Jesus would have looked like? And so when I came away from that, my circle of friends, my circle of people became very, very small. There was nobody. There was nobody in my life here who I could say, look, here's what I'm going through. And, there was just no one. My best friend, she's still a Christian. She respects me and I respect her, which is absolutely fine. All my family members, they're all Christians. The UK is a very secular country, but because I'm an immigrant here, so you form these circles around church. You form, whatever circles you have seem to be circles centered around your faith, your beliefs. And when you come away from that, you realize how tiny, just there was no one. So I needed a community. I needed people that looked like me, people that could empathize, people that could, relate somehow. So I contacted the Humanists UK, and the Humanists UK were the ones that let me know about the Black non-believers, and also um, the Association of Black Humanists. So social media has been good because that way I've been able to have a community. When I came away from religion, I experienced, as I tell people, it felt like a loss of identity. It felt to me like I'd lost the person who I was, right? Some people say you lose faith. I didn't lose faith. I lost the sense of meaning because I wake up thinking God. Middle of the day, it's God. Everything I did was God. You're about to leave the house. God, take me out, bring me back safely. You're about to drive. God, take over these wheels in Jesus' name. You're about to eat. God, something. Oh, take this food in Jesus' name. God was in everything, and here I'd ditched the God character. What was I to do? So I went through a really deep depression. Um, but thankfully, my local humanist group, because I had to join the humanist group close to myself, they were very helpful. They were I think they helped me in my time because then I could meet other humanists, but they were all white. I'm the only black person in that group. So there's some things they wouldn't be able to relate with. And that's why I need groups like the Black Non-Believers and the Black Association of Black Humanists here in the UK. So social media for me has helped me meet people who are like myself. It made me realize that I am not crazy after all. There are people who have walked away from religion. I'm not going to hell after all, right? So it's been for me a lifesaver, I would say. I can't hear you, Mandisa. I think you're muted.
You know what? Yes, thank you, Esther. And this has just been an amazing first show for the new year for us. I mean, thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey. We have to have you back on the show. We'd love to have you back again. And also, I do want to talk to you about featuring you at for more being programming in the future as a Nigerian atheist Black woman of color. And
Okay,
again, who is open. So yeah, we definitely will need to talk about that some more. This was a wonderful
absolutely.
interview. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And please be sure sure to follow Esther on Instagram at the Afro Atheist with underscores, Twitter at the Afro Humanist, on TikTok at the Afro Atheist, and on YouTube at the Afro Atheist. So thank you, Esther. We're gonna close out the show now, but thank you once again for joining us. And thank you all here. Thank you all for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed hearing from Esther. Hopefully, her story resonated with you and her experiences, and that it helps you if you are on your journey as well. So, as always, we close out the show with some upcoming events and reminders. If you are in the Charlotte area tomorrow, please join our Charlotte affiliate tomorrow for their Black Atheist Drinking Coffee meetup at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Emily's French Bakery and Cafe. We will be posting that link in the chat. Also, if you're in Atlanta on January 15th, please join us for brunch and planning at 10 a.m. at the Breakfast Boys. That link will also be in the chat. Please do RSVP for all of those events if you will be wherever you will be. Also, our new Detroit affiliate is having a meet and greet at Detroit SIP on January 15th at 2 p.m. If you are there in the area, please join them. That link will be shared for your convenience. Also, BNCCon 2023 is now live and ready for booking. That link has been shared in the chat as well, but please do visit our website. We will be on the new Carnival celebration. The convention will take place from November 4th through the 13th of 2023, with the sale dates from November 5th through the 12th. Some of our featured guests will be Matt Dillahunty, Candace Gorham, yours truly, Godless Gospel, and many more. Visit the website to book. The deadline for deposits has been extended to January 25th. Recently, it said deposit started at $850, but the rate started at $850. The deposits are from $250 to $500, depending on the type of cabin that you are looking to book. But even though deposits are required, flexible payment options will be available throughout the year. So please do contact us if you need to take advantage of any of those flexible payment options. We are more than happy to work with you. And we are more than excited to be on the Carnival celebration in November. Finally, if you are looking for a gift or to give at any given time of the year, do pick up a copy of Name Dropping. As mentioned earlier, it was co-created by Deanna Williams, who is a previous guest of the show and who is celebrating a birthday today. It is the frustratingly fun movie trivia card game. So please do click on the link in the chat to make your purchase. So that wraps it up for In the Cut for today. Thank you for joining us for our first episode of the year. And again, we look forward to a fantastic year of special guests and good information. We hope you enjoyed the show and that you will come back. As a reminder, we air every first and third Sunday of each month. Please don't forget to like this video and do subscribe to our YouTube channel and spread the word about us. Do follow us on Facebook at BlackNonbelievers. Follow us on Instagram at BNonbelievers Inc. and Twitter at BNonbelievers. The B and the N are capitalized. Once again, please do subscribe to us on YouTube. We are very, very close to monetizing our channel. So the more you watch, the more you will be able to drop those super chats whenever you come onto the shows. So please do give us that support so that we can continue this great programming that we do here at Black Nonbelievers. Also, do find your local affiliate on our website or on meetup.com or join all of them. Again, we will be bringing back some affiliates as well as starting some new ones. And we are looking for new organizers. We are looking for YouTube moderators, and we are looking for either guest hosts and a permanent host for the show. So please do contact us if you are interested in any of them or all of the above. Do fill out the volunteer form on our website. And finally, Please do learn more about us and make your tax-deductible contribution at our website at BlackNonbelievers.org. And also, if you want to represent BN more, you can purchase our swag. We have shirts, hoodies, mugs, shot glasses, and more at our online store, which is available on our website. Please do take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you next time. Bye-bye.